Lights, camera, action.
Greetings and salutations, boys and girls. Max here for Mellow Media, and welcome to part 3 of making your drums slap. Now, it's worth repeating again, but the mission of this channel is to help you make the music of your dreams. And this episode is no different in that endeavor, in that we are going to really cover some special sauce in helping you make your drums bang, helping you make your drums slap. Now, since this is part 3, and if you maybe missed the previous episodes, please do go and check that out. It gives a lot of context for what we are covering here today. So what I can just do is just have these videos pop up for you wherever it might be on the screen. What you can do is you can also go through our channels, whichever platform you are seeing this on, and just watch the previous 2 episodes. As promised, next week we are doing a mega upload where you have the full video and you don't have to, wait like for weekly episodes like this is Game of Thrones or something like that. Alright, without further ado, let's get on with part 3 of making your drums bang. See you on the other side. Now, I personally prefer to bounce all of these triggers and layers that I just did. I mean, I think it's marriage. Marriage has helped me to commit, because I know some guys, they still want to see that slate trigger in case they change their minds. But I made up my mind many years ago with the magic of having mixed this before. Here's my layers. Voila, everything printed just there. Nice to see. Okay, so back to worrying about phase. Let's just zoom in here on the layers that I printed and previously edited, because I mixed this before. Is now I will have 4 kicks. I'll have the kicks that was recorded on the night, so I'll have kick in, kick out. I'll have the sub kick, which is, let's just rename it the serum kick, and I will have the legendary Dan Worrell Dan kick. I doubt it's Dan Worrell, I just wanted to give him a shout out. So I have my layers bounce, and I just want to go into some editing here and make sure that the kicks are aligned. Now, as you can see over here, the phase invert is on. So when I bounced that sine wave, it had a reverse polarity to the other kicks. Let me see if this one, nope. So the other 3 kicks had the same kind of polarity start, and I just needed to invert the phase on this kick so that it aligns with the rest of the kit. Right? I do a similar thing with the snare. Let's just go and have a look at the snare layers over here. I check the snare and make sure that it lines up. Let's see, it's only the snare bottom that was out of phase, and the rest had good polarity and they line up nicely. So when you bounce your layers, this is the type of checks that you have to do, because the sauce that is coming soon, trust me. So I had to do the same for that. For the snare, I had to do the same for the deep snare. Let's see if there's any. Yep, this deep layer was at opposite polarity, and the snare bottom on the deep snare. So these are the type of things you have to check to maintain the phase relationship. And I obviously also did it for the toms. Make sure that they align so that we maintain a very good relationship, because after 16 years together, you have to find a way to keep the romance going. So when I want to basically craft my snare sound, I have to set the relationship between the live snare and the layers that I created. So what I generally start with is the snare top. So let's do this. Just put on some headphones. Let's find a nice healthy transient here, and let's just loop that. I want to put it on a grid. Let's just loop that. So a nice healthy snare transient. All right, the next thing I do is bring in the snare bottom. The next thing I do is then bring the layers in. I'm just going to give more snare bottom. Is bring the layers in. So the snare that I got as a one shot from my homie, mixed by Mark. This one. And then I will bring in the hard snare. That guy. And then when I bring them in one by one, it sounds like this. So you can see in my constructing and building of the snare, that's the snare that I felt sounded the best to me. That hard snare really getting in there. Let's play without it. Let's go. There we go. So next we do the kick, or we'll start with the kick. So I start with the kit that was recorded on the night. And this is a good time to use headphones or speakers and get off your phone. Then we layer in the serum kick. Here we go. Nice. Then we layer in the Dan kick. Right. And essentially we have established the relationship, and we can mute the samples and add them without, with, and hopefully you can hear what that adds. It adds a certain sense of, like I said, that weight to the kick and the knock knock choke. And so whatever I said here can be basically extrapolated and applied to the deep snare and the toms that I have over here, all of these tom layers. All right, now that I have the relationships between the drums dialed in, it's time for some special sauce, like real special sauce. I mean, I can't do this. Like I have to. I mean, but I guess it still applies, right? I don't know. That's how I know my kids are mine. They also can't do this. It's like a genetic defect. Some special sauce. Now, I'm not sponsored by the following company. They're not sending me a check. They probably don't know I exist. But however, if they would like to do any of the above mentioned, my full name is Maxwell. Wait. Before I get into that, let me give myself like a Game of Thrones type entrance. He is the slapper of maker. He is the maker slapper of drums. That's legit. He is the creator of sick beats. He is the fire emoji receiver, the happy maker of clients. First of his name, Maxwell Bruce Cornelius Mello. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa. My number is 555-1984. That's 555-1984. Call me. I mean, like, I'm available all the time. Even if I'm sleeping, call me. Now, these tools are admittedly expensive, but that's because they are worth it. Now, remember when I spoke of the Essentials kit? Let's go to the next person, or person. I mean, because these plugins are kind of like family. So yeah, I'm going to say person in the Essentials kit. And the next guy in the Essentials kit is Drum Leveler. So Drum Leveler over here kind of does what it says. It levels out your drums and makes the performance of the drummer more consistent. It's not quite compression. It's not quite expansion. It's magic. I don't know. So if we look at our drum performance over here, and we just isolate one snare, and we have a look at the drum leveler and what it does, that's what it does. Now let's play more of a performance. So when we see when something maybe is above the threshold and something is below the threshold. So let's play this over here. As you can see, that's above the threshold. And that's essentially what it does. It makes for a more steady and even performance, and that's why it's in the Essentials kit. Now, something that I forgot to mention and show earlier is that the samples that I loaded and procured for this drum kit already have the drum leveler goodness in them.
How do I get that goodness in me?
So when you align your drums like I showed you, and we no doubt saw an improvement, they are nominally in phase. Means they're kind of in phase, but with the next plugin, they're going to be in phase for real. So like I have not mixed this before, I'm just going to do this and remove all the phase correlation between drums. If you want your drums in phase for real, there is a plugin, like I said, Awesomeness and Attractiveness, for which there is a charge. And this plugin is called Auto Align 2. So what I've just done is I placed it on all my kicks, and we're going to demonstrate why it is such an important tool. So the first thing I do is I put it on all my kicks. So if I had to bring my mix over here, and just for a second, you can see that it's in on all my kicks. And let's put that back. And I put it as a post fader because when you change the levels between the kicks, the phase relationship also changes. More on that later. So we have our auto align here, and now we have our kicks that we have put the auto align on, and we want to put them all in the same group. So you're just gonna select them, put them in a group, and unfortunately this is not a auto align tutorial. We can do that separately. This is just to show you how the bacon is essentially made. So they're made in a group, and I'm just gonna call that, spell correctly now, kick group. Right, and once they are in a group, what I'm just gonna do is press align and let these cook for 30 seconds. Let's put that down, and boom. All right, now that it has cooked for 30 seconds and they are ready, we can see what Auto Align has done, and it has suggested some moves to us. It has selected a performance kick, which is the serum one. It has time aligned my kicks for that deeper phase. And what it has also done is spectrally align my kicks with each other. Now, I'm just gonna tweak this a little bit, and let's see what we get when I move stuff slightly. Dan kick, and we're gonna move this kick and see what we get. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Now that my kicks are aligned, we're gonna do a nice A/B and see what this has given us. So I'm just gonna create a loop around this kick, and then we're gonna do a with and without. Without. With. Without. With. Right, so if you are using the correct device to view this, and hopefully not your phone, you will hear that so much has been added to the kick. Like this, that 60 hertz, that sine wave really comes through, and the punch of the kick really comes through. That's why phase is important. Now that we have covered two more family members of the Essentials kit, who wants some pie? No, not that pie. That pie was great, but the pie I'm talking about now is even more awesome. We are going for that deep phase. So you may ask, what does pie do? And it does phase rotation. And yes, I just told you nothing. That's because hearing is believing, and that's what we're going to do right now. And pi is something that I add after auto align. So I'm just gonna bring pi here. I'm gonna select a group, which is the kick group, and I'm gonna set it as internal. I'm gonna copy this, can't see it off screen, to the other kicks. And what we're going to do, just so you understand what it does, it is we are going to bypass the auto align, and then we're going to A/B with pi. So that's with pi, without pi, with pi, without pi. Right, so you can, yeah, it essentially does the same thing auto align does. The only difference is that auto align takes a photo of your general relationship between elements and says, yeah, this is kind of where we want to have it. Where pi phase rotates and put every slice in phase. Now, when you put them together, which is what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put them together. So hopefully you can hear what pi adds to the equation. So without, with, without, with. Now this can be subtle, and at times it does nothing, and probably did nothing there. But when you have phase changes over the course of this being an 8-minute song, pi really comes in handy, and it sort of catches the things that auto align doesn't catch. Kind of like how my friends catch my jokes and my wife doesn't. And because I've mixed the song before, and through the magic of the past, I've already done this with other drums. So instead of loading it from scratch on all the other elements, I will just skip to the snare, and we can pretend and say that I did. And we can listen to a snare transient over here that has auto align and pi on it. And then we can do the AB as well. So this is our snare. There we go. That's our snare. And we're just going to solo it here. Let's just give ourselves more of a run up a bit. There we go. And let's just bypass. So hopefully you can hear what the phase alignment added. It added just a deeper phase. It added more to the relationship. When you bring more to the table than just yourself, you bringing money and security and phase alignment, it makes for such a happy family, the family of the Essentials Kit. So what you will have no doubt heard is that your drums just become more of themselves, more punchy, more meaty, more this and less this. Pro tip: the bigger your drums are, the bigger your mix can be. The more punchy and present your drums are, the lower you can put them into the mix without them disappearing. That means they reach the limiter 2 or 3 dBs later, making your master 2 or 3 dBs louder. Now, old Max used to love seeing all of these layers. I wanted to see my serum kick, my Dan kick, all of my snare layers and stuff. But no, not Max Cornelius, first of his name. He likes to consolidate things down to one. One kick, one snare, one wife, 3 kids, one tom, one, and so on. We're not going to go through all the toms because there's 5 of them. And since I've been doing this, I've been getting better results. I don't know why. You would think it's the same thing, but my drums just sound better. Maybe it's voodoo, maybe it's magic, maybe it's the meters on Cubase that are coloring my snare. Who knows? Ooh, somebody catching strays. It's processing time. Now, as I said in my Prep for Success video, is that I don't have a template per se. I have wins and I have projects that I'm working on, and that's kind of the structure that that song will conform to. In the case of Maria Jesu, this is not the first song that I mixed for Lindiwe. As I showed you guys, that was Uyisimanga. And by the time we got to Maria Jesu, which I think is the 6th song, did I say 6th song? 6th? But who enunciates 6th song? By the time we got to Maria Jesu, which is song number 6, The drum sound was well and truly established already. So all I did was then import that whole drum template, and then put the kick in the kick and the snare in the snare and so on, and adjust for the differences. Now, this is not a set and forget type of process. We still need to do our due diligence. Like I said, put the kick in the kick. There's the rim shot that I needed to observe. There's the deep snare that I needed to observe, and the main snare. And put all of these things at their station. And then we still need to go through the process of getting a static mix and doing proper gain staging, making sure that from one plugin to the other we are not causing clipping or weird issues. Now I'm going to cover drums. Funny that this is an in-depth drum tutorial, but there is still more, especially when it comes to phase to cover. And there's a helicopter. That's because I'm doing some fly stuff. That's why the helicopter is really just a cosign to say high five.
My goodness.
What are you talking about, Bruce? That was a great pun.
No.
Okay, it was a bad one, but we're going to keep that for editing.
Please no.
Okay, the helicopter's gone. I can continue. Where was I? Oh, I was here. This is an in-depth drum tutorial, but I mean, like, it's a bit long in the teeth. I've been filming for roughly 3 hours now, and this is going to be a long video that I probably need to break into parts. So we will just cover the drum processing that I did in just more glancingly than more in-depth, and trust me, we will get to this, especially because, as I said, I want your clicks and likes, your fire emojis. I want your affection. And so I'm going to make more tutorials in the future. And what we have here, speaking of the sections of the kick, we can just have a look at this. I just put this at a more respectable volume, and let's solo the kick. So when we look at the areas of the kick, that 60 hertz that I spoke of, put it out, that 60 hertz that I spoke of, and hopefully you can see there, that is what I'm slightly augmenting with the kick, because in the mix it will sound different, but we got it like basically out the box ready. And then a boost there at 270. Now you would think that I'm boosting 270 because I said don't boost in the lower mids, but let's come to our good friend here, Plugin Doctor, and we have the 4000E. So we're just gonna deactivate some stuff and then put it in mono, because that's what the kick is. Oh, let's do that. And so when I go here and I put this bad guy on about 270 odd, and I make a boost, let's look at that, you'll see there's a boost around 160-ish. So it's the boost, it's the 160 that I was talking about. And when I put this on bell and I get it roundabout down to 60 hertz and I make a boost, it is a boost round about 50 hertz-ish. It is in that sub area, adding that weight, and this guy is adding that knock who's there, right? And when I'm dealing with hip-hop kicks, this area over here will be exaggerated. I'm talking about boosting it 5 dB easily on the SSL, and as you can see, that only really translates to a 3 dB boost. And if it were not for a plugin like Plugin Doctor, I would not know these things. I mean, I would have to use my ears, and who does that? I mean, that's why we have meters, and we have True Balance, and we have all types of stuff to just so that these things can tell me what I'm hearing, because that's what I really want. All right, so let's close Plugin Doctor over here and get back into Cubase. For this kick, I felt that I didn't need the beta part. It was probably already it was a bit intense. I remember it was a bit intense. So there is my processing on the kick. So minimal processing, after looking at that EQ to get it right. And it's the same with the snare. I just do slight moves and slight things to get the snare ready, because I already try to get it with sound design, try to get it as ready as possible for processing. So I do minimal moves. And as if we didn't do enough phase already, what you will see here, and let me just bring my mixer over. is that I will put the kit in phase with itself. So what I did earlier was I put each individual, no regrets, let's keep going. Each individual kick, snare, drums in phase with itself. And on the Pi, I chose internal, right? So that means only the kick is being aligned. Now I'm choosing internal and mix. So the kick is essentially doing some phase and cool stuff with the kit as a whole. And now, kind of like we put the kit in phase earlier, we are getting that deep phase where you're really getting the kit nice and punchy. So I don't know if it will translate. Be gone, mixer. Let us just solo the drum kit here and let's see what it sounds like without all of that phasey goodness. I just need to select one, snare bass. Okay, we want to select that one, select this one, the hat, and the overheads. Let's try this. There we go. Put these on and listen real quick. Now, I honestly don't know if that translates, but it's a standard practice for me on drums because I found that it just keeps my kit more in phase with itself. All of that phase rotation I spoke of earlier, all of that goodness. I just have it as a global effect on the kit foreshadowing what is to come. That's what we are doing, we foreshadowing. So I want to cover how I do like parallel compression and stuff and other processing on the drums, but like I said, I'm going to save that for future likes and clicks and content for you guys. I mean, like, I'm just going to gatekeep a totally banal topic that has been covered to death and act like I'm the progenitor of parallel compression and saturation. And on that note, that's it for this one, boys and girls. I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed making drums slap with me. And I hope there was something for you here. I know there was probably a lot for the beginner, but hopefully for the pro as well. If you found value in this, please don't hesitate to hit the buttons on whichever platform you are seeing this. Throw some fire emojis my way. You know how the boy feels. I mean, fire emojis, they nourish me. It's like tears from Manchester United supporters. It's just, you know, when I get thirsty, this is what I'm actually drinking. The tears from when we won the league recently, the tears from when we signed Isak, the tears, I live for it. So next week we have a dope episode coming. I'm talking about how to make your digital productions sound more analog. There's going to be some dope theory. There's going to be some dope examples to help you guys take your mixes to the next level. And if that sounds like a good time to you, don't be shy to hit that sub and that follow button so you can be notified when I drop that video. As always, love what you do and do what you love. Peace. Right, cut. That's a wrap. Let's go home, guys.